Start working on this.
I like a lot of things. I've got the space by now, except
Do the.
I haven't done El Paso or San Antonio, but I've been to Ross and to Houston, Tyler,
You were going when you
I went to Midland,
Okay.
and what's the other, what's the other, oh, up there, San Angelo, Midland, and.
It's not time yet. Bad talk, bad talk.
It's black color, the article stands for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Bauer,
Here.
Councilmembers Bauer,
Here.
Ludwig, here, Robinson,
Here.
All right, we will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
Make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Bauer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Bauer. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Edvig. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting open to the public. There are 0 people here. We will move on to old business. Item A, update city code chapter 2 administration, second read. Ordinance 320.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a second reading for the housekeeping that had to do with the individual departments within our city code and updating the language of those departments from 2006, 2011 timeframes. As it's a second reading, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Question, Sarah?
I have no questions.
Rob?
I have no questions again.
I have no questions, Mayor.
I have no questions either. With that, we will entertain a motion to approve item A, ordinance 328, amending chapter 2, administration of the city code. And motion by Councilmember Edvig. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Robinson, and it's a roll
Councilmembers Robinson,
Aye.
Ludwig. Aye. Bauer,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
call. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. And new business. Yeah, make sure it was a resolution. New business, item A, City Hall Fire Station, public safety antenna.
Mayor Council, before you tonight is the quotes and a cost for the public safety antenna for the new City Hall Fire Station. This is a soft cost that is included outside of our contract. We received 3 prices from 2 different companies. After some review, the fire chief has found that through references in other cities and county discussions, that the low bid, even though quite a bit lower, was a valuable bid. So with that, staff is recommending to go with Mobile RA for $27,000. With that, both the chief and I are happy to answer questions.
Questions, Kevin?
Yes, just the disparity and the spread and the different pricing, is there any real concern after analyzing the bids?
I spoke to a couple different fire departments within the county. One city, Coon Rapids, that just recently completed construction on their new fire station 3. And people down at our technical facility for the radio shop. They're both very confident in mobile radio engineering and their ability to do work. So it kind of caught me off guard a little bit too, which is why we went the extra step and did some reference checking.
Apples to apples, though, again, one was 41,000, the other was 27,000, just, wow, that was spread.
The tongue-in-cheek comment that the county made to me is Pearson Wireless seems to have made the transition to servicing larger commercial facilities now, rather than public safety.
So they might have one business, and they just check it.
Could be. They seem to have found more of a niche on the commercial side.
Oh, okay, no, that's the only question I had. Thank you, thanks, chief.
You're welcome, sir.
That was my question too.
Sarah?
Same question, chief is okay with that, we did the research and.
All right, hearing no further questions, and I have none myself. We will entertain a motion to approve the mobile RA $27,033 bid. We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Bauer, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Edvig, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to item B, fire service study.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is the three RFP proposals that we received. So throughout our work with Bethel over the last almost 2 years now, we got to a place where we received some funding from the state of Minnesota to complete a strategic review on fire services in this area. Through that, we released an RFP back in November. We received 3 RFPs. The low bid was from Triad Paradigm, and we, even with their costs to include some strategic planning, or some organizational process and the JPA creation, if we do head down that route, they're still the low bid. All 3 organizations were interviewed by the Bethel Fire Committee by both cities, and we're in agreement with Triad. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and the chief can answer questions as well.
Questions, Rob?
I didn't have any questions. I like the fact that there was a grant for some of these dollars, so I didn't have anything that jumped out at me.
Sarah?
Had no much.
Kevin?
I just want to thank the administration and the work chief and Kate and whoever all involved that have got the grant. And again, the grants aren't free money. It comes from tax dollars somewhere down the line, so. But it does help, and I'm sure the city of Bethel is grateful as well. If Kate or chief, could you recap the timeline? We employ these people to do a job. What's the end line gonna look like?
So with Paradigm, Triad Paradigm, they're projecting about a 9-month window to complete the core work of what the JPA is intended to be or could be. It's gonna start with a lot of that initial data dump, but obviously there's gonna be a lot of other avenues for information collaboration through this process. So he's really looking at kind of that 9-month time frame. So assuming that we can continue to move forward with the trajectory that we're in today, we should have pretty solid answers as we roll into the end of 2020.
And this is a template that we could use maybe for another joint venture somewhere down the road with another sister city.
That's the hope, and through the interview process, we shared with all 3 of these firms that our desire, our intent is not to just make this work for 2 cities, that there's opportunities throughout the council that we can find the secret sauce, if you will, that there's a chance for this to be expandable and scalable as the county continues to evolve with fire protection services in the future.
All right, that answers my question. Thank you. Again, thanks for the hard work for all the parties involved.
Thank you.
I have no questions. I sat in on those meetings along with Kevin, kind of came late to the game. Former Mayor Feldman started it along with Kevin. After his passing, I kind of stepped in. But Dave and Kate, Kevin all worked on this along with other members of Bethel and the state fire marshals too. So we'll thank all those people for helping us get this done. With that, I will entertain a motion to accept Triad Paradigm. The Triad Paradigm bid. Do we have a motion?
Make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Bauer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we will move along to second meeting open to the public. Again, there is nobody here in the audience. So we'll move on to reports. Item A, liquor store annual report.
All right, I prepared the annual report for the liquor store. Only in there for a couple of months, mostly just looking at charts and graphs, but overall the year was an improvement over the previous. We broke $3 million in total gross sales for the year. Gross profit margin still up right around 25%. Okay. You guys all have a copy of this in front of you? Got the breakdown of what categories are for gross sales. By month, it looks like June and July were actually really good months. June was actually the best month of the year over Christmas, which for me is kind of surprising, but hopefully we can keep making that number even bigger. Customer counts are up. Beer's still over half of total sales. It did go down almost 1% versus last year, and I think a lot of that's probably all the new liquor products and THC as well joining the game. Which obviously that's still under 1%, but at the rate it's going right now, that's probably gonna be a much larger number this year versus last year too. Expense wise, personal and professional were both better than the previous year. I think that was probably due to the lack of the store manager. But people aren't getting cheaper, so I don't see that number going down. It's kind of a hiccup this year. Had a profitable net operating income or a positive net operating income this year. It was good to see, so I was kind of nervous about that myself. And cash balance is up a little bit as well. Almost 10% over last year. Trends, like I said, I think THC is gonna be a big trend. And the liquor-based cocktails, the premium cocktails, similar to the White Claws and Trulies. It's just a new kind of trendier drink. It appears to be healthier, whether or not it is, it's still alcohol. That's what they use to help buy it, and I guess that's what we're using. Gonna do a lot of food trucks. We're doing monthly giveaways. The MMBA fundraisers. We actually got the award for most money raised for that last event at the end of the year for the food shelves, so that was cool. We'll just keep driving on bigger and more money for all parties involved. Namely the city. Why do we have?
Questions, Kevin?
Sure, your current employment status as far as, employees you have and stuff, have you made changes in hours, or have you got to tweak it to the way you want it now, and, as far as shift coverage and?
Yeah, I mean, all the employees are still there, nobody's left, nobody's been there now, so it's also the original staff that were there before. Opening earlier just involves myself or Crystal or Corinne, depending who's opening. But it really hasn't been problematic to add those couple hours every day. It's hours you can still get other things done, so even if you only have 2 or 3 or 5 customers, you're still running reports and getting sales ready and building displays and that kind of stuff, so definitely seen an uptick in customer counts from those hours as well, so I don't think it was a bad decision to.
Any tutoring as far as the customer service enhancement, as far as people not doing homework and laptops open while customers are walking in?
I haven't witnessed any of that personally myself. We did talk about it briefly when I first started on board. Everybody works hard when I'm there. I can't guarantee that they work hard the whole shift through, once I'm gone, because it does fall off.
Good. I wasn't insinuating anything. I'm just curious. I've heard from customers here and there, and I've seen it long ago, but.
I think overall, the customer satisfaction is prevalent. I think that most customers are walking with a good attitude about it. I haven't heard any negative feedback. If I did, I'd address it right away and
Good.
make sure it doesn't keep happening, so.
That's good. That's good to hear. Credit card status, we talked a little bit months back before you came on board, now that you're on board, have you had a chance to analyze that? And are we doing as good as we could, or it's okay, or as far as the fees and whatnot that get ironed out?
There's a lot of other options that we could be utilizing, whether or not they're the right options, I'm not 100% sure on that. I did meet with the guy at the Capitol last week that does handle another service of credit cards where it's a surcharge is added onto the receipt. And I don't know that the city of St. Francis, the people of St. Francis would necessarily like that.
No.
You would put it right on the receipt and they'd be charged for it, which. But, so there are other options. There's even other companies or previous companies that might be better.
Do you think you'd be explaining, is it to our advantage to explore that, or just to leave status quo for now?
I think I'm at a spot now where I'm comfortable trying other things, and seeing what my other options are. I was trying to not make too big of a splash initially.
Sure.
And I didn't want to spend a bunch of money without knowing what I was walking to.
No, understood.
I got most of the parts that I could move without spending money, moved to where I want them to be, so now it's time to start diving into those bigger problems that could save us a lot of money.
Sure.
Give us a lot more money.
Okay. Grocery store sales, what are you hearing on the buzz on the street as far as new session of legislatures in progress? What's coming down the road? What are you seeing in the periodicals or with your your other counterparts?
I think it's, I believe it's being voted on right now, or already has been voted on, but I know that it's up and coming right now. I think that it would be very crippling to all liquor stores. to have the option to be in any capacity. I also think that the expense that would be put on all the distributors would be pretty huge too. I mean, they'd have to pretty much double their force for orders and deliveries and all that kind of stuff as well. It's kind of one of those things you can't really overthink about it until it's actually there. Just like when Sunday sales was looming and finally got passed. I mean, it was on the chopping block for a good 20 years before it finally went all the way through, so.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do you think it'll be something this year, or do you think it's another couple of years down the road?
I don't think they have enough steam quite yet personally, but I don't see all the parts of it, so I couldn't give you an honest answer.
Sure.
My guess is it won't pass this year, but there's too many other things that people are looking at, I think, right now, so it might not be big enough to draw an attention.
Sure. All right, and also lastly, the wine tasting area, you moved a lot of stuff around, it looks fantastic in there, when you go in there now, the sight lines are awesome. Like you say, it also helps for as far as theft and what, or potential theft and whatnot. But the wine tasting area, have you been able to expand what it's used for, or does it have a purpose?
We will be utilizing a lot in the months coming up. Traditionally, it's cold right now and tastings don't usually perform very well in the slower months. But I've already got 3 different tasters on every Friday, starting in April, and I'll keep pushing that through for the remainder of the year. As well as getting food trucks in the parking lot. Everybody's disappointed that Chipotle is coming. And it's another, I mean, it's an Alzheimer's, obviously, but the majority of people wanted food and they wanted Mexican food. So we're gonna get all kinds of different food trucks in the parking lot.
Okay,
Try to do our best to help that cause out. But yes, the tasting bar will be utilized. I plan to get some other larger, not huge tasting, but larger tastings where we can better incorporate that kind of
sure,
dead space in the back for more tasting events.
okay. And then last question, I have my one last one, but dormant inventory, you really hit that hard when that was one of your main goals to see what's going on. How on a 1 to 10, how close are you to getting where you want to be, where you purge what's not moving and got a good handle on stuff?
Unfortunately, the slow moving items are still slow moving items, so it's a matter of being able to display and get people to look at them and grab them. And I think changing the layout of the store is a huge part of making that more achievable.
Mm,
Now it's just a matter of identifying section by section and getting them on sale and getting them out the door. It can be a slower process. I mean, I'm not trying to just gut them
oh, sure,
and lose money on the packages.
sure,
You kind of start making money and then eventually you're breaking even. And then at this point, for some of the items, they're just gonna have to take a cut, but
all right. Well, again, our customers have choices, and I'm glad you're here. I think you made a big difference, and from the background I've seen as far as enthusiasm, again, as I talk to the other staff members and heads of staff, and it trickles down, so whatever you're doing a good job, and making a difference, so I'm glad you're here, and keep up the good work.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's good. Sarah?
Good report. Yeah, I've been hearing, from actually quite a few people that haven't gone to our liquor store for years. And they're like, hey, I'm going back. It looks good in there. There's a good selection. People are friendly. So whatever you're doing, you're doing it right. So keep up the good work.
Good report as well. I know a lot of these sales are, in profits for 2023 year, not 100% you're doing. Where do you see the gross profit margin? Do you have any projections on where you think it can get versus where it is right now at that 25 or less margin?
I think
What
that
do we want to see it at
I
in
think
your eye?
another percentage or two would be realistic. Getting through those slower movers is gonna be the thing that's gonna hold me back on that, so kind of, you wanna try to finesse it and not necessarily give stuff away or lose money on things to try to keep that GP up where it needs to be. And finding a happy medium, sometimes it just means that it takes longer to get through those slower movers because of it, for the sake of keeping the gross profits high. But I think another percentage or two easily. THC is 50% profitable. So if we can keep growing that category, that's a lot. That's as good as ice. Ice is frozen water. So if you're wondering, it's the most profitable thing in liquor stores before THC.
Yeah, we could.
So don't
In
get big.
Texas, they have these little compartments, you just drive up and you put your $2 in and the bag drops down, it fills up with ice, and you drive away. It's actually pretty neat, but
There's a lot of drinking and driving in Texas. It's got a cooler sitting right there.
I think there's an open container law, you know what I mean,
Sure.
but, with that said, so these products that are hiding out on the shelves, and are we able to expand the amount of stuff that sells, like the THC stuff, and put more and more on our shelves to,
And honestly, since the remodel, we could definitely add an entire row of shelving, if not two. Again, I was trying to make changes without costing money. So if that's a decision we want to make later on, and that's another 40 feet of shelving on both sides, so it could be.
we'll watch slow on that, because I remember probably before you got started, we were looking at a graph where this thing was going red, and it was going red fast. And I'm not seeing it on your report, with personnel and product and profit, where we were really, as the council, saying, hey, did we make a bad call with expanding it? And are we hiding those numbers somewhere in the next year or two? We're like, hey, we're red again. I just don't wanna see that. I just wanna make sure that if we're gonna be very profitable, let's do it in the right manner.
I agree.
And show all the numbers so we can make a good judgment call, you know, if we're hurting, tell us we're hurting. Okay. That was it.
Thanks, Ross. Rob kind of touched on, when I was going with the gross profit, I was kind of curious what your goal would be, or where your max could be. Is there anything, I think we as a council could do as well to try to help you, do better? Would be my question to you.
That I'm not 100% sure of. Stop in and give me your honest opinions. I've seen everybody just about have these ones.
I've heard good things, but I haven't actually got in there since you've rearranged.
I've seen even their ones.
Yeah, but I haven't been, I don't think, since you've rearranged, from what I've heard, I haven't like checked it out fully, so. I know I was in there once, I think around Christmas time, but I'll go there often.
The old layout was just, it was hard. It was hard to walk it even as an employee, but I can't imagine as a customer. As a customer, I needed it first before I came in, so the first couple months were really hard to just keep doing it. Eventually we'll change it. January 2nd, we changed it. 5 days later, I think so.
Well, I appreciate your approach, your positive attitude too, and, I'm glad that we have retained, sounds like all of our staff, so. Go from there and, I guess continue to do what you're doing and hopefully improve more. So thank you for that, and, we will now move on to council member reports. We'll start with Rob.
I just want to tell the residents, we as council were able to, go and view the new, City Hall fire station. It is enormous, it's, better than I ever would have imagined the first, you know, the outside of the structure being, for me personally, I was kind of, oh, big concrete slabs and just not looking presentable, but it's amazing. So it is not another Dollar General just for our residents. That's really all I have to report is we went and viewed the fire station and City Hall. It's becoming a beautiful thing, and I think the city is going to enjoy it for 75 years.
All right,
Plus.
Sarah?
Yeah, same as Rob, it was really neat to get in there, even with just the dirt floors and getting to see where everything will be was really cool to see. And then after that, we did come back over to the community center and have a work session.
Yeah.
I also took the work session, took a tour of the building. It's very nice. Again, we really focus on not opulence, but functionality as far as the fire goes. And again, where the guys and gals can wash their clothes and stuff after going on events, fire events and whatnot. An administration area
The offices are gonna be nice and functional, big open windows, lots of natural light. We're using, well, according to code as well, you know, city, as far as energy efficiency and whatnot, that's all taken into consideration. But as you go to one end of town, you look down, you can see it, it looks pretty cool. It's gonna be very nice, again, it's something that we needed, it's not something that we wanted, it was time, I see, Sister City is now embarking on the same journey as far as asking the public to come. And, put their 2 cents in as far as, you know, a fire station city hall, so they're gonna realize that their prices have gone up quite a bit, and they were up. You know, we did everything pretty frugal, I can honestly say again, we were all involved in meetings for many, many months before this happened, so again, it's not gonna have a Dollar General sign on it, it's not a warehouse. But again, it was all about functionality, I've had a couple calls already about what good is the public gonna get out of it, and the council chambers is still gonna be used for meetings and whatnot, it's gonna be available, things will be a little bit different, though, it's a nicer new place, and there will be Kool-Aid on the carpet and this and that, but, and they asked about the upstairs, again, I was explained to, several people who were concerned. We're gonna use it for fire station training or fire training in the beginning, with some movable walls and whatnot, that's the vision anyway, and we'll be able to, maybe actually generate some revenue and have other departments come and they'll see what we built or what it's become and train other fire departments as well, so. Also, at the work session, we talked to a developer that has, some desires to build in our city and the stuff that Kate and the EDA's been working on for a long time and Colette, and again, there might be some sacrifices made on the city's part as far as maybe not as much tax money as we want, but there's gonna be some development that takes place in exchange. It's nothing new in cities nowadays. There's gotta be some compromise and give and take, and it's bringing stuff to the city that we haven't had in a long time, some retail and some housing. You know, we're short on rental housing here as well. So, talking to a developer like that, Rob, I spent some time talking to him. They have a good business philosophy, and they've been successful in other cities and what they do as far as helping people out, young families that rent, and then finally they get their own home. This developer actually has a program where they give these people a jump start and proper direction to actually get into a home. So what could be an apartment dweller now could be a homeowner later in the city of St. Francis. And I was really intrigued with their line of thinking. So all in all, things are happening. It's just taking longer than we thought. Also AutoZone, that is an AutoZone. Yes, another auto parts store in town. I've also had phone calls. Can't the city do something about that? No, it's a business district. They can put the business in there as long as it's not something that we don't want, whether, you know, any number of things that don't belong in our city. But, yeah, they have the right to do it, and it's commerce. They're gonna hook up our sewer and water, and they're gonna employ some citizens here. It is what it is. We have, you know, several places that sell food and groceries here too, so there's, sometimes you can't find progress, but it's allowed. It's, they chose St. Francis to be here, so I think we're pretty fortunate in that regard, so that's all I have.
With that, I guess I'll move on to my report. Prior to last meeting, I kind of screwed up and I put a note in here and I missed it. But right before the Winning with Cops, event, I got a phone call from a newer resident, that moved to town not too long ago. They wanted to acknowledge 2 gentlemen that assisted her when her car was having issues. They helped her get it fixed, so they crawled underneath the car, even to help her get the job done, and she, felt they should be acknowledged. Their names are Jacob Hedden, Hedden, and Nicholas Ploussard, Ploussard. So one, it's good to get positive news. We'd like to thank them, for what they've done. Said she likes their little town, and, hopefully that continues. I also attended the work session via Zoom. I was not here for the tour. I'm hoping to get a tour this week here, as well as stop by the liquor store. And I would just like to remind people too, tomorrow is the presidential primary election. The polls are open here at the district building. Open at 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. With that, I think we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilmember Edvig. Do we have a second?
1 second.
Second by Councilmember Bauer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 6:29.